Hi and welcome to John's Maths Book. In this video, we'll be exploring another key concept in mathematics. If you find this tutorial helpful, then please show your support by subscribing, liking, and leaving a comment. Your positive engagement helps me create more content and allows me to bring you more valuable maths lessons. Without further ado, let's go over to the whiteboard. Let's use triple integrals and cylindrical coordinates to find the volume of a cylinder. I appreciate there are other simpler ways of doing this, like using the formula for the volume of a cylinder. However, this example serves to demonstrate the techniques and steps of using cylindrical coordinates and triple integrals. For more complicated examples, you'll need to use these techniques, as there'll be no simple formula. In this example, the cylinder is defined by the equation x squared plus y squared is equal to 16 in Cartesian form, which extends upwards from the xy plane and is bounded by the xy plane where z equals 0 and an upper surface where z equals 8. Let's take a look at the cylinder in 3D form using a graphing tool. So this is the cylinder, and we're going to find its volume when bounded by the upper surface where z equals 8 and the xy plane where z equals 0. Our first step in the process is to convert the Cartesian equation of the cylinder into cylindrical coordinates. To do this, we need to convert x, y and z to r theta and z in our Cartesian equation where x squared plus y squared is equal to 16. To facilitate this, we need to substitute r cos theta for x, r sin theta for y, and z remains the same, so z equals z. After making this substitution, we're left with r squared into the bracket of cos squared theta plus sin squared theta is equal to 16. And using the trig substitution, where cos squared theta plus sin squared theta is equal to 1, we have r squared equals 16. And taking the positive square root, we're left with r equals 4. To find the volume of the cylinder, we need to integrate over the region we'll call E and some infinitesimally small pieces of volume shown here as dV. We need to unpack this and define our region using cylindrical coordinates. This will give us our limits of integration for r, theta and z, and then we need to look at what dV equates to in this context. So let's start with the limits of integration along the z-axis. The best way to think about this is that we are summing infinitesimally small pieces of volume along the z-axis between a function that defines the upper bound and one that defines the lower bound. In this case, the function at the upper bound is the surface where z equals 8. And the function at the lower bound is where z equals 0, which is also the xy plane. So the upper limit of integration for z is where z equals 8, and the lower limit is where z equals 0. Moving on to the limits of integration for r, if we look down on the z-axis, we see that a circle centered at 0 is cast on the xy plane. The circle extends uniformly upwards along the z-axis. The upper and lower limits of r will be along the radius of the circle, where we'll sum infinitesimally small pieces of volume. The upper bound of r is the radius of the circle cast on the xy plane, so where r equals 4 in cylindrical coordinates. And as the circle is centered at the origin, the lower bound of r is where r equals 0. And to find the limits of integration for theta, we need to look at the coverage of r as it rotates anti-clockwise around the circle. As we can see, r goes full circle and therefore rotates the full 2 pi or 360 degrees. So the lower limit of integration for theta, where theta begins, is at 0, and the upper limit of integration is where theta finishes, and in this case it's 2 pi radians. So now we've defined our region using the limits of integration. Let's now unpack what we are integrating. So in our case, dV. So dV represents infinitesimally small pieces of volume. We're using triple integrals to sum each of these to get the total volume. Let's look at the dimensions of one of these. If we look at the green shaded region, this represents an infinitesimally small piece of volume dV. We can think of this as a tiny rectangular box where the volume is given by the height multiplied by the width multiplied by the length. So let's apply this to the green shaded region. We can see that the height is along the z-axis, and it's an infinitesimally small piece of z represented by dz. The width of the box lies along the radial distance r, and is an infinitesimally small piece of r represented by dr. And the length lies along the arc of the circle and is infinitesimally small. Now the arc length of a circle is given by the radius multiplied by the central angle theta. In this case, theta is infinitesimally small, represented by d theta. If we now put all these infinitesimally small dimensions together, we see that the volume dv is given by dz rdr d theta. And we sum all these pieces of volume using our triple integrals to get the total volume. So now we have our triple integral where we're integrating dz rdr d theta. So let's begin the evaluation process, starting with the inner integral. So for the inner integral, we want to integrate from z equals 0 to z equals 8 dz. And using the power rule, this evaluates to z. And plugging in the limits of integration, we have 8 minus 0, which equals 8. And for our middle integral, we're integrating from r equals 0 to r equals 4, 8r dr. And using the power rule, this evaluates to 4r squared. And plugging in the limits of integration, we have 64 minus 0, which equates to 64. And for the final integral, the outer integral, we want to integrate from theta equals 0 to theta equals 2 pi, 64 d theta. And using the power rule to evaluate this, this equates to 64 theta. And plugging in the limits of integration, we get 128 pi minus 0, and this equals 128 pi, which is the volume of our cylinder.